Hello and welcome to another episode of the Women Can Do Show. I am your host, Rochelle Sawyer Cobb. I am the CEO and founder of I Can Do, which is a women empowerment organization and brand. Our mission is to empower and inspire women to walk and live in their true purpose. And this show, of course, is one of the many tools that we use to do so. So I want to first start off by saying Happy Women's History Month. Of course, we know that March is the month that's set aside to celebrate the contributions of women in history and even the women today that are still making history. All right, so we'll be celebrating all month for that. If you follow our social media pages, I announced today that we will be spotlighting women every Wednesday. So today our spotlight was on Charity Adams, and you all know, I'm sure everyone has seen the movie 6888. It was very empowering and inspiring. I know I was empowered and inspired by her story because I had never heard her story until it was on the big screen, right? So I hope that you all are inspired and empowered, not just by women in history, but by women, who are around you, even today, who are pouring into you, who are trying to push you to be the best version, right, of yourself. And so the universal theme of Women's History Month is moving forward together. And it's to highlight women in leadership, like mentors and women who educate other women and girls. And so we're focusing on empowering and bringing up the next generation. If you've been following I Can Do, we are big on that. And so I challenge you to educate the next generation, not just empower, but educate them. So of course we have to share history, right? But also empower them to let them know that there's still history to be made. There's still impact. And making history is making impact. And so we all have the ability to make an impact. All right. So again, welcome to the show. Our guest has arrived, the amazing Chef Nessa, Vanessa Newell. Welcome, Vanessa.
Hi, thank you for having me on your show. This is such an honor. Thank you.
I am excited to have you.
I'm
I'm
excited to
excited
be
to,
here.
yeah. So, as you all know, if you saw our post on social media, we've been promoting the show all day. Our topic today is reinventing condiments with Chef Nessa. Now, this is going to be very interesting. I can't wait to dive into to her to share her story of how she reinvents condiments. Like condiments, you think they're right so small, but I can't wait for her to share what she does with those. But before we do that, the first question I want to ask you is, who is Vanessa? Where you're from, your upbringing, outside of the chef, who is Vanessa?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Ever changing. No, I would say that's that. But no, ultimately, I was born in the San Diego area of California, not too far from La Jolla. So that's
Woohoo.
originally my hometown. Raised with a Southern foundation. All my grandparents are from the South, from New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Gulf Coast. We are Gulf Coast
Okay.
people, and that's my foundation. And how I was raised, and my grandma, she's my last surviving grandparent. She'll be 87 coming up next month in April. She doesn't let me forget it, that we're a proud Southern family. So that's kind of like my foundation, and also where I got my love for food and family, faith, all those things. I am a daughter. I'm one of three. I'm one of three of my mom's kids. My mom and my dad. My dad is no longer with us, unfortunately, but I'm one of three. And I have several nieces and nephews. I'm an active auntie. And of course, chef, I'm also a podcast co-host of the Hip Hop Rewind podcast. So that's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. I'm a writer. I write and contribute to Women Talk magazine, digital magazine for women of
Shout out
color.
to
We're very
Woman Talk
proud of that work.
magazine.
Yeah, shout out to Women to Women Talk. I'm starting to dive more into content creation and UGC form, user generated form content as well. Because ultimately, I just want people to live a good lifestyle as
Yeah.
well. And when it comes to just not just like food, but travel, but just have a good, peaceful life. I really want peace in my life, and I want other people to experience that. And I see that. And I just like to stay positive. That's the crux of like, I guess you could say my brand is I try to stay positive as much as possible. There's so much negativity that happens around the
Yeah.
world, and that's, uncontrollable. And I've had
Yeah.
things just like, oh, what are you gonna do with this now? And it's just like it's being positive doesn't mean that you aren't acknowledging difficulties and what's happening, but
Right.
it's choosing to stay the course and to keep hope alive. And
Mm.
one thing I always say whenever I end a session, whether it's on like TikTok or YouTube or anything like that, I said, let's remember to keep our prayers up and our hopes high. And I
Yeah.
think you have to do that in order to make a lot of different moves and pivots when life brings it to you. And being in the
Mm.
culinary world, I've had to pivot a lot. I've been, I guess I can mark myself as a celebrity chef. It's so
Yeah.
weird saying that sometimes because I just think of celebrities as normal people. They're just
Yeah.
fellow creatives that are just doing things people know more about. But I have cooked for several celebrities as a sous chef, especially, and I've cooked for Angela Bassett,
Oh,
Vivica
wow.
Fox, Tanisha Arnold. I've worked on episodes of not Love and Hip Hop, but what was that one? Similar to Love and Hip Hop, Black
Was
Ink
it
Crew.
growing
That's
up?
what Black Ink Crew
Oh, okay.
Chicago. Yeah, yeah, Black Ink Crew Chicago, and I actually was on the season 1 finale of Married to Medicine LA, being a chef at an event, and I was in a couple of scenes.
I've got to go back and check. That's my show. I got to go back and check that out.
You'll see me in the series finale just in a black chef coat with Dutch braids too, and
I
just
as soon
talking about.
as soon as we get off, I am going going to Peacock and pull it up.
Yeah, you'll find me like, oh, there she goes. Because when it was on initially, I remember my mom, she was so proud because she had saved, she recorded it on her direct TV box, and then she had to get a new one. And she was so upset because
Oh,
she's like, wait a minute, I'm going to lose my baby on TV. And on top of that, that same time for that same year, just like I think a couple of weeks in between those things, my cousin, she's an actress. Her name is Kim Steele. She was performing at the Tonys because she was in the Donna Summer the musical, and so my
okay.
mom had recorded her in the Tonys and me on Married to Medicine's LA in the series finale, and she's like, "I'm gonna lose all that," and
And
she was
lost
so
it all.
upset.
Wow.
Yeah, she was so. I was like, "The things live on YouTube, things live on
Yeah.
Peacock,
Yeah.
but you'll find
Exactly.
glimpses of me."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my claim to fame. But you'll find glimpses of me there. And then ultimately, like I said, with food, even though I've cooked for celebrities and stuff like that, I feel like anytime someone has asked me to do an event for them, whether it's a
Mhm.
small intimate dinner for a couple celebrating an anniversary, whether it's a baby shower, wedding shower, anniversary. My grandma's on birthday. She's she's had me on tap a couple of times and like hundreds of people for her event. That's that's a whole nother story. But no matter what, I make people feel like they're the celebrity. And I
Yeah.
want people to find value in who they are
And that's
because it doesn't
important.
matter what you do. Yeah, it was so important because like
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of celebrities. I talked to a lot of celebrities, even on the Hip Hop Rewind and what I do. Celebrities just keep coming in my life every little bit.
Yeah.
But I've been able to talk to some and to quite a few, and they're just normal people like
Yeah.
everybody else, and that's what
Yeah.
I try to convey to people. It's like they're normal, and I want to bring that experience to people, no
Yeah.
matter what. Whether if I'm interviewing them, if I'm cooking for them, or if I'm just supporting you in life and what you're doing, I want you to be the celebrity of your life and you to feel special. So that's what
Right.
I try to do as well. Hmm.
So what inspired you, first of all, to become a chef? Like, what did you like? Were you kind of when you were younger, like fascinated with cooking? I'm gonna tell you, I was a chef when I was a kid. I hate cooking.
Yeah,
I was fascinated with
that's
baking.
cool. Like,
So was
Yeah,
that when did that
baking's
start?
fun. Well, yeah, at a young age, I was immersed with food. Food was
Okay.
always around me. Like I said, all my grandparents are from the South, so Gulf
Yeah.
Coast specifically. So there's a lot of good eating down that
Mm,
way. Um, and I didn't grow so much up with my dad's side of the family in Chicago so much. But my mom's side, I grew up with my grandma and my papa, and they both cooked, to be honest with
mm,
you. My grandma was very, very good. And my mom, even though my mom didn't like to cook as much, she actually is a really good cook herself. So I've
yeah.
always been around people cooking. And my grandma Alberta in California, Carlsbad, she always had a garden full of fresh veggies and fruits, and just the culture of Carlsbad, where my mom went to high school and grew up in
Mhm.
Carlsbad, Oceanside area. There
Yeah.
used to be a lot of fields and farms, and so even people growing stuff, it wasn't uncommon. You had someone selling citrus or strawberries outside of their house, and you had an honor system box, and you would just put it there. So I was always surrounded by fresh produce and very fascinated with good flavors and just good food, and never and parents didn't really put us onto fast food. We didn't do that. I've always had home cooked meals. And
Wow.
so it was just very, very natural for me. And then as I got older and, my mom's work schedule increased, it's like, well, you got to fend for yourself. So you got to eat. Sometimes you either wait for your mom to get home. My dad was a nuclear engineer, so his hours are kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
so, like me, my brother, and my sister, like, and sometimes my cousins would be over, like, well, what are we gonna do? And I just started experimenting. I think it was about like 9 or 10, and started experimenting
Wow.
with some things. And that's where I started really developing like a love for cooking and just observing my grandparents. And I remember my grandfather, I think he was about 5 or 6 years old. He was a pastor too. I remember it was one Sunday night after church, he took us to the store to buy a lobster, and that was my first time having lobster, and he showed us how to cook a lobster in the pot.
Mm,
And I was just like so fascinated with that, and just like different things like that. It was just always natural and always there. Food was
yeah.
always there, and good food was always there, and surrounded with a lot of life's events. So
Yeah.
it just was just like a natural flow. I guess I'm the one that was gifted with the
Right.
taste buds and
Yeah.
everything like that. So that's kind of like how I started, but I didn't immediately go into becoming a chef. After that, I took like classes in high school, like foods and fitness and stuff like that. But I really wanted to be a journalist. That was my goal, was
I
to
was
be
gonna
a
yeah.
journalist.
I was gonna ask you about what did you actually go to school for? Because I know it wasn't that originally. So share that. And then how you kind of transitioned
Yeah,
into
yeah. So initially, I was going to Arizona State. I was enrolled
Mhm.
in the Walter Cronkite School of Mass Communication and Journalism. I actually met him in the elevator with Hugh Downs one time. That was a weird experience, but one I will never forget, since they're both nearly departed and gone now. But my
Yeah.
freshman year. But initially, I was going to be like Oprah. That was the goal, because Oprah was on after
Yeah.
school and everything. And I may not understand all the subject matter that Oprah had going on because I was young, but I was just enamored, like, oh, but she's talking to people, all these fascinating stories, and just the
Mm,
emotion that they get, and
mhm.
everything. And I loved Oprah so much that I named two hamsters after Oprah, Oprah 1 and Oprah 2. So it tells you
Right.
impact Oprah has made in my life. But I was in school, and I started to encounter some health problems. We weren't sure what it was or what was going on, and I had to de-enroll, which was a heartbreaking time
Mhm.
for me. Because it's like I had all these goals. I was very goal driven.
Yeah.
I had gotten into college early. I got into like 6 colleges, in by the end of my junior year. That's how
Mhm.
like focused and driven I was. Um, and it's hard when you have to deal with like, where's my dreams getting taken away. What do I do with this now? Who I am, because you're
Yeah.
building up to that.
Yeah.
And my parents were just they're just really so loving and kind and supportive, and they're like, your health is most important.
Right.
And we discovered I had gone years being misdiagnosed as hypoglycemic, and I was at a
Oh,
really bad place. So
Yeah.
we got me back on track, and it took years, and mentally it does things to you. So I was just like, wasn't sure if college was for me anymore, or just, it
Mhm.
was just like a lot of things that led to a lot of roads of discouragement, people discouraging, even the institution, the college itself,
Mm.
being very discouraging. Like, well, I don't know, you've lost so much time. And, you know, I say this as a pinpoint, young people now who are going to college, they're so fortunate because so many people, there's so much a higher level of emotional intelligence and how
Yeah.
to speak to people and how to really encourage people, right? Where it just wasn't there. And I'm not old, I'm an older millennial, so I'm not like, decrepit, not like anything, but you know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
long, but not too long ago, but it's just been a big change that I can see. And I just was like, I don't know what to do. So, I immersed myself like in church and family, and I worked at a dance shop for a while too because I used
Mhm.
to dance and stuff and was in that. And then um, I was led to get a job at the University of Phoenix to be an enrollment counselor, which is really interesting. And I worked there for a couple of years, and then I unexpectedly lost my job. And I'm
Mm.
just like, what am I gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna? Here I am again. I'm like, I'm just trying to be an adult and do the right thing. And
Wow.
I had lived on my own. I had my own apartments and stuff like that, and things like
Yeah.
that, and some other health things that came up in between where I had to move back home. And I'm just like, God, I just feel like such a failure, right? And my mom was like, it's gonna be okay. And so I remember it was I got laid off of my job, and there was a commercial for La Cordon Bleu, and I just had this. I said it as kind of like a joke or sarcastically. Oh, I should go be a chef. My mom's like, you should, because you cook all the time and you're really good at it. So you really need to think about becoming a chef. And I'm like, hmm. She's like, no, you really should. You're really good at it. And she's like, you don't have to do it forever, but she's
Yeah.
like, I think this is something you should
Try it
pursue.
out.
So,
Yeah.
I listened to I listened to my mom that same day. I went to, we had a local campus. They don't have any more North American campuses, but at the time they had one in Scottsdale, Arizona, because I'm based in Arizona. So I went to that one, and I they said, let's get you an intake interview and let's test you because you have to test. So a lot of people think, oh, you just sign up and go. No, you have to test to get into the
Mhm.
school. And so I passed the test 100%. I surprised. I thought I was going to bomb it. I'm like, I knew more than what I thought.
Mm.
They liked me, my personality. They thought I would be a good fit. And the president of the school at the time, he wanted to meet with me, and they say he never meets with anybody. He wanted to meet with me, and he was just like really excited, and they gifted me with this cookbook from school and everything, and they're like, welcome in. And next thing you know, I was enrolled into getting my degree in culinary arts
Wow.
and business management.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow.
hard. It was hard, but
Yeah.
I'm very proud of my journey, and that's kind of like how I got there. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. So let's talk about the reinventing condiments. Um, just
Mhm.
I guess explain to us that I think it's a movement.
Yes.
So share
Hopefully
what
so.
yeah, what sparked this and share kind of how you're reinventing condiments because this is very interesting.
Mhm. Well, I learned a lot in culinary school. So, like in school, it's a college, so it's like
Mhm.
it's a actual college where we
Yeah,
had courses, where we had lab time, and we had actual courses and books where
right.
we had to do homework and we had to research. And so we're in a nutrition portion, and we're learning about not just only nutrition, but how food's sourced, and learning about different health issues, obesity,
Mm,
hypertension, all those things that we know about that's plaguing been plaguing Americans for a very, very long time.
yeah.
And also, I was just thinking in my journey, because I'm, in my own health journey, I'm actually fighting and winning and thriving a stage 1C ovarian cancer.
Wow.
And I told people, and the doctors told me this, it's like you gave yourself your best chance with the foundation that you gave, because food and nutrition is very important to me. I
Yeah.
don't like processed foods. I've never really have. I'm actually sensitive to a lot of preservatives, and a lot of
Mm-mm.
people don't realize they actually are, and a lot of chemicals that are in our food. And people have become addicted to a lot of processed foods, a lot of sugars, a lot of fats, a lot of salt. The perfect balance. Because a lot of like fast food and restaurants and different condiment companies, they have food scientists. People don't realize that they have food
Mhm.
scientists that have
Mm.
figured out the perfect combination of salty and sweet and other things, and adding different chemical additives to kind of mimic addiction as if someone is addicted to drugs. So when people are like maybe going on a fast or something, and they're withdrawing from high sugary things or fast food or something, and they're kind of feeling jittery, or they're having attitude or something, it's real. It is real,
Yeah.
because it's doing what it's supposed to do. And so for me, I just thought, people just want to be healthy, but they don't know where to start. And I think they try to go all in too quick, too fast. And it's like,
Mm.
well, let's just bag it up. What's the thing that Americans really like a lot? Dressings, sauces,
Those condiments.
condiments. We like to sauce it up. You know what I mean? Those condiments. And I was
Those
like, it just like a
condiments.
light bulb went off. Like, boom, let's start with that. Because if we can, here's the thing is, I really believe in that statement, the proverb, African proverb that says, "How do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time." And
Mm.
so, if people just take things in a bite, one little bite at a time, and let's start kind of small, if you will, you'll start seeing the health benefits and want to improve in other areas, and want to go a little bit deeper and further, and maybe change your diet in other areas.
Right.
So that's kind of like where the inspiration came from. It's like, because we got kids, little kids addicted to dipping everything. They won't even eat a nugget. They'll eat
Yeah.
the ketchup or the barbecue sauce or the ranch, and won't eat the actual
They want
nugget. And
actual,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, you know what I mean? It's like differ this, differ that. And I'm like, okay, we like our sauces. So let's kind of reinvent some of our favorite sauces, different condiments, and make it more health conscious, just to get people feeling better, cut some inflammation, and start putting them on the path of
Yeah.
wellness.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow. So what is your favorite dish? Like as a chef, what is your favorite dish?
That's a loaded question. I saw something. This
And I
one
know
chef
you have
in
many.
Portland, Oregon. He he put this sign up on Instagram, said, "Stop asking chefs what our favorite dish
What are
is." And I'm like, I feel that, because when you're creative, it's anything that comes to your mind. It's like, oh, this sounds good. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this, and
ah,
blah, blah, blah. But I tell people my foundation, I go back to my family. I have Creole history and roots. My family is from New Orleans, it's from the Gulf Coast of Mississippi and Alabama. And
mm,
so Creole cooking, that's my foundation that I go back to. And also, having that foundation of Creole cooking actually helped me a lot in culinary school, because that's where I learned about root. I'm looking at stuff. I didn't know what the name was really. I mean, root, but other
right.
things, I'm like, oh, well, my grandma does this. My dad does it. Oh, I've been doing this. Oh, that's what that's called. Oh, okay. And they're like, okay, you're not new to this. I'm like, I do know more than what I think. So, Creole cooking is always going to be my go-to, and kind of like my soft spot, Southern Creole cooking. But I love so many different things. I just was on a Vietnamese kick not too long
Okay.
ago this week, where I had this Vietnamese
Okay.
crepe. It's like a rice flour crepe with like shrimp and bean shoots and stuff like that. And they serve
Mm,
it like you wrap it in like lettuce and with a little bit of mint and basil and their fish sauce. It's amazing. And I do love Vietnamese food. I like Italian food, but
yeah.
not always the typical Italian that everybody will eat. I love paellas, Spanish food. I do love Spanish food, and I actually went to Spain about 6 years ago, and
Mm,
nothing like it. And it just depends on where what I eat depends on where my heart is at that day and what
ah,
my taste buds
yeah.
are saying,
Right.
and then
Right.
also what's available to me. So
Right.
that's the other thing. So you got to get creative sometimes.
Yeah. So have so the food trends, it changes, right? Um,
Hmm.
how do you pivot when that happens? You know what I mean? Like, of course now
Mhm.
everyone is on this plant-based, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
of course you'll probably get a client um that wants, a meal or for an event, but maybe it's a health event,
Mhm.
something, and they want all plant-based food. So how do you or is it easy for you to pivot? You know what I mean? Like when the trends
Mhm.
change, because now, like I said, everybody's on the plant-based, trend. It used to be, what,
Yeah.
vegan. Now you hear plant-based more. So how do you,
Mhm.
I guess, navigate through that?
No, that's a good question because like trends come and go, and people
Yeah.
usually associate trends like that with like weight loss and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't try to jump into that, but what I try to do is to be very knowledgeable. I identify
Mhm.
myself as a flexitarian, which
Mm.
means it's like I give myself the flexibility. It's like if I want to do primarily plant based or be in a vegan kick, I'll do that. But if I want to
Mhm.
eat meat, I will, or animal based products. But I'm very conscious about my choices. So
Mm.
I don't do a lot of red meat, but
Yeah.
I'm not limiting myself from having a steak. But is that steak grass fed? What kind of steak it is? I'm not going to cheapen myself out. I'm going to get a
Mm.
higher quality for that. I think that's very important is
It
understanding the
is.
quality because people buy into these trends thinking it's going to help them either like lose weight or put them in a better health space. But I tell people vegans can be unhealthy too. Plant
Yep.
based people can be very unhealthy. You
Yeah.
have vegans who are obese. You have
Yeah.
vegans who have diabetes, high blood
Yep.
pressure.
It's true.
You
Yeah.
know, they have to watch out what universally everybody has to be mindful of preservatives. They have to be mindful of what type of fats they're ingesting and cooking with. They have to be mindful of what type of salt they're using. Like I only use like
Mm.
pink Himalayan sea salt. I don't use iodized salt. I
Yep.
don't believe in it. It
Yeah.
does not have any health benefits for people. Or I use like Celtic salt,
Yeah.
one of those, something like that. And so I always tell people, it's like I'm able to adapt and adjust because I want to, and I believe in offering, not limiting myself and not limiting my clients. So if my client tells me, "Hey, I'm mostly plant based," or "This is what I'm going to do," I got you. Don't worry.
Mhm.
And it's going to be delicious and it's going to be good, and you're not going to miss anything. And if I don't know something, I allow myself to be like, let me educate myself. And that's the thing. A lot of people are scared to say, I'm not sure about that, and just educate themselves. So I will educate myself, and I've done that. And I follow other chefs who are maybe more identifying more as a vegan chef, or whether
Yeah.
it be like a home
That's
cook
good.
or actually a professional chef.
Mhm.
Like one chef I do respect is Chef Charity Morgan, who's also a fellow Le Cordon Bleu alum. Not from my campus, but I believe the Florida campus. Her
Okay.
husband used to play for the Tennessee Titans,
Mm.
and he wanted to become more plant-based as a family, and she really did her research and looked into it, a little apprehensive at first, but she got really into it. And it's like she's plant-based queen, so I'm always making sure I'm following her. I have like a couple of her cookbooks, see
That's
what she's
good.
up
Yeah.
to. She had a show like on HBO Max about food and stuff like that,
Mm.
and other chefs. And it doesn't have to be vegans, but you have a lot of chefs too, and a lot of ones I admire, which are a lot of female chefs and Black female chefs, like Chef Ashley Jonique
Mhm.
down in New Orleans, where she's not plant based, but she does plant based things. And one of her most requested items, even for people who are not vegans or plant based, is her vegan crab cakes. And
Ooh.
understanding how she does that, and
Yeah.
yeah, and she works a lot with a lot of local and seasonal vegetables and herbs and farms and stuff like that. So I just do my research and I follow like those ladies and people like that and just stay abreast to that information, have it in my wheelhouse. And if someone needs it, it's there. And I practice it too. I don't just
Yeah.
like, oh, let me just have it there, but I actually do practice it. And I have a couple of my own recipes under
Yeah.
under my belt. So I'm always prepared.
Yeah. And that again, because like I said, the trends change. So as a chef, you gotta keep up.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You gotta be, aware of
Hmm.
what's changing. And like you said, you do your research, you follow other chefs that are already, cooking
Mhm.
plant-based or vegan or whatever. So I think that's
Yeah.
very, yeah, because you don't know what your client is going to need. You want to be able to satisfy every
Mhm.
client, right? No client eats
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, and you want
Yeah.
to get to know people. That's the thing is now you're seeing more chefs where they're starting to be more personable, and you're
Yeah.
seeing them have an appearance online. It's because the chef no longer is it the archaic chef where they're throwing pots at people and it's like shut up and all this. But no, people want to have that personal touch and element. So part of it is that you have to have the conversation
Yeah.
and ask them like, hey, what are you thinking? What do you want? Okay, what and that goes to like asking like what allergies are, just really taking stock of what's important to them. And I'll
Yeah.
ask them like, why is this important to you? Or why do you like this? Like, that's cool. Or, and just have a natural conversation and flow and just put my heart into it. So yeah, I don't feel like I can't cook from anybody. I could cook for literally anybody. And if I don't know everything, I'm gonna figure it out for you.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't you worry, I'm gonna figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. So tell us about Drizzle and Dazzle. What is Drizzle and
Yes.
Dazzle? How did it come about? And just give us the goods on that. I really want the people to hear this.
Yeah. Yeah, so the title is Drizzle and Dazzle from Basic to Bougie, Reinventing Classic Condiments for the Health Conscious Foodie. So, I had to appeal to my millennial crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Basic Bougie. Yeah, and so just making it fun and approachable. And like I
Hmm.
said, starting small with condiments. That's so many people tell me all the time. They're like, "Well, I can't cook like you because I'm not a chef." And I'm like, literally, if you understand technique and have a base foundation, you can cook anything. It's not, it takes some practice. I'm not gonna say you're gonna get it right first
Right.
run out. And I'm telling you, there's not a chef in the world that got it right first run out either. And if they say that, they are lying to you.
Mm,
I have to tell you that we've all been cut and burned in our learning process and had to learn to chastise for not holding the whisk right and doing
right.
everything like that. So it takes years to develop a really good technique. No one's just naturally, gifted like that. But I just want people to feel good about themselves and feel empowering, take some of their health back, especially like inflammation and stuff like that. It's really doing a
Mm,
number on people. And I said, you know what? Let's start with condiments because condiments is very easy. And people, like I said, especially in America, we like our condiments. Like people like sauces and they like salad dressings. Maybe use it a little bit too much, but hey, that's between you and your whatever.
right.
But if we can get you, yeah, right. But if we can get you some more health forward items and to reinvent some of those ones that you like,
Mm,
then as you start to feel better, you're not feeling so sluggish. You may notice that you're sleeping better, that you have more energy, that your mood's more stabilized. You're like, maybe I do want to work out and walk a little bit more. Maybe I do want to try this acai bowl, or maybe try this, or let me explore working with the king oyster mushroom, or something ingredients you maybe weren't familiar with, but you're more open because the cloud has been lifted because you're
mm,
eating more health conscious,
yeah.
and we're introducing better ingredients. And they're not expensive. There's not expensive ingredients because I know that's the other thing. People are like, well, I don't have all the money in the world. It's like
Right.
literally taking basic things you could find at any grocery store, not like luxury grocery store like Erewhon or even Whole Foods or whatever. Just like the basic, like you can go to Publix or Kroger or HEB or wherever you're at.
Hmm.
Ralph's if you're in California. If you know, you know. You know what I mean? You can just find those ingredients and really work them and make them healthy and tasty. Because I know everybody's always worried about, is it going to taste good? It tastes fabulous, and you'll be surprised. So yeah.
So what's a condiment that you like? Just give us an example of one that you kind of have made healthy because condiment. I remember
Hmm.
some years ago. I think it was like 10 years after I had my son. So I was working out, losing the what we call the
Hmm.
baby weight. And so
Yeah.
someone told me eliminate condiments. And so I did. I kind of not eliminated them totally,
Hmm.
but just kind of cut down. And even still, I don't you really. use like I'll have a turkey burger with just the bun and the turkey.
Mhm.
Like nothing, I don't need anything mustard mayo. I don't need I
Yeah.
can eat fries without ketchup, right? So what's
Mhm.
like what's a condiment that you've made healthy?
Yeah, ketchup, believe it
Mhm.
or not.
Yeah.
Um, like I would say condiments aren't bad. I think condiments are made bad. That's a big
Oh.
thing. There's a lot that are made really bad.
Mm.
And then there's some that are good, but I've noticed the ones that are deemed more health conscious, or you might see natural, organic, the more popular they get and they go into mass production, the lower the quality gets. So
Ah.
it's like, let's take back some of that and make it ourselves. And it's
Yeah.
really easy and it's not as hard as people think. I'm telling you, I tell people with my ketchup, it's like if you have a saucepan and maybe a whisker spoon, you're going to be fine. And my friend's like, what? Isn't it more than that? No, I'm like, well, okay, an immersion blender if you want to blend it down, I guess, it'll make it more smooth. But literally, do you have a saucepan? Do you have a spoon? And maybe a measuring cup. You'll you'll be fine. And I like doing that because with my ketchup, I use apple cider vinegar,
Mhm.
and I prefer the one that has like the mother in it because it's good for gut health.
Mm.
And a lot of
Mhm.
the apple cider vinegar has so many great health benefits.
Yeah.
For the sweeteners, I recommend like agave or pure maple syrup, not pancake syrup because that's bad high fructose corn syrup, all this other stuff. We don't have in my cookbook, there's nothing dealing with high fructose corn syrup, nothing with refined or processed sugars. Now, if you want to add them on your own, that's between you and whoever. Okay, but the recipes are going to be what it is. And it's just a foundation. And if you feel you
Yeah.
need to add a little bit more something or less of something, it's
Right.
totally up to you. It's not this strict, like, you must do it. But I'm really proud of my ketchup to the point, like, my mom, she's like, I love your ketchup so much. I don't eat ketchup without you unless it's yours. She will take
Yeah.
a little small Tupperware container my ketchup, if she knows she's going to a restaurant where she might have to dip a fry or she wants to have a good burger or something. And she's like, because I don't like the taste of other bottled ketchup. I like yours. And other things I put into it is things like allspice and cinnamon and cloves, ground cloves. And those are things
Mm.
that people don't realize they really. And if you look on the back of the ketchup bottle, you might see paprika right down there, garlic, and we have all those things in there. Finely chopped onion, that's all in there too. But allspice, cinnamon, and clove really enhance the flavor profile of the tomato paste and all
Mhm.
the other flavors. And they have really great health benefits too. And they really help to reduce inflammation. And again, by not having refined sugars or high fructose corn syrup, it's going to help keep the inflammation down and
Yeah.
you'll feel better. So the ketchup, honestly,
Wow.
is one of the ones I'm really proud of. I've had little
Yeah.
kids eat my ketchup and they're just like, this is good. I don't know why I like it, but it's really good. And if I want to add like a little smoky element, sometimes I'll put liquid smoke in there. It's
Mhm.
almost like it'll almost be two steps to a barbecue sauce, but it's good. Or like some chipotle peppers or something like that in there, just to give it a little bit different flavor, a little bit different spin on that. But I'm really proud of that. But the ketchup is one because that's like a universal condiment that
That's
you see
big.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
yeah. So that's one. And then I would have to say after ketchup is probably my botanical ranch collection. Number one is what I call it. That's what
Mm.
it is. The botanical house ranch collection number one. I have a number two. Number two is a vegan version made like with like cashews. So there's something for everybody there. But that I really like the ranch because it's herby,
Mhm.
very herby. I like using fresh herbs like
Yeah.
dill, parsley, chive. Those are easy to get. And now there's so many people that are growing gardens and starting in their home with herbs, and they're very easy herbs to grow.
Mm.
I do grow. Well, my parsley kind of died, so I got to start over. But I grow like basil and tomatoes and a lot of other stuff, and I'm
Oh,
getting ready
wow,
to
that's
plant some other
good.
stuff. But Yeah, but they're easy. They're easy to get in the store. And you can use dried. Dried's not bad too because dried herbs are a lot more potent, so you don't have to use quite as much. But the ranch is so good. It's just it's a good one. This is another one my mom likes. My sister likes that one too, and it just gives you kind of like that steakhouse feel.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe like $5 or $6 to make, and you'll have like a big batch of it that'll last you a week or more. You could freeze it for later, so it's better for your wallet. Your wallet and your waistline is better for it at the
Right.
end of the day. So those are two I'm proud of.
Wow.
Two
So
things.
tell the people where they can get this cookbook. Like I'm gonna try the making the ketchup. I've never imagined making my own ketchup and
Hmm.
in a healthy
Well,
way.
we're yeah. So we're still in a little bit of pre-production right now because formatting has been a beast because it's a one-woman production, and that one woman is me. But by the end of this month, I'm looking to have it done because my birthday is in April. It's April 7th,
Okay.
so I want to go into April having this book done. So if you follow
Yeah.
me on Instagram, which my Instagram page is necessary vibes. It's necessary underscore vibes with a Z. You can follow me there because I'll be dropping like little nuggets and hints and all that good fun stuff. When it comes to that, with the book launch and release, it's going to be in digital format first.
Hmm.
That's where I kind of been led to do that because it's more important for me for the people to get the information out. Now you do got
Yep.
to buy it. I tell people you do buy it, but
Exactly.
once people have it, one thing I am thinking of doing is trying to coordinate and see about maybe doing some online cooking classes. So I want people to stay in contact. So we'll have a spot for you to put your email address, of course.
Oh, that
So
will
like
be
I can stay in
good.
contact with you. So we can maybe do like a live cooking class for a couple of
Mm.
condiments and stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
I definitely want to give that to people first off who bought the book. So whenever
Hmm.
we do that and more schedules permit, they're gonna get the first go at that. And then everybody else, we might build it out as you could come by or buy and watch later type of thing. But those are things that we're looking towards. End of March, we're hoping to have it done. I'm ready to go. So just follow
Mm.
me for that. And then sometime in April, maybe May, we will do online cooking class for those who purchase the book.
Yeah, definitely gonna be looking forward to that. So
Hmm.
this is Women's History Month, right?
Hmm.
Tell us a woman that has empowered, contributed, and impacted your life. It can be in
Oh
in
man.
in history or today. What who just tell us if you have a top five. If you don't just want to choose one, because I know that's hard.
Yeah.
Give me
Yeah,
your
it's
top
hard to
five.
choose just one. This yeah, and I'm gonna already put my mom and my grandma out of it
That's
because
right.
they're in a category all their
That's why
own. And my
that's why I
aunties
extended it to
because
five.
yeah, I was like, first of all, my women in my family are
Yep.
powerful, they're strong, they're
Yep.
encouraging. So they're in a league all their own. So it's like, look, I
Exactly.
can't even put them in that list because y'all have busted the list. So I'm not even gonna do that to y'all. But women who do impact me or have made an impact on me that I've seen. One, I believe I'll tell you this is Vivica Fox.
Mm.
Um, I was working an event as a sous chef with a chef who was not good. I'll just say that I'm not going to throw her under the bus completely
Mhm,
because
mhm.
my integrity is important. I had been working with her as a sous chef for a while, and she was doing these events. And Vivica was the host of our pre-Emmy event, and someone else was supposed to kind of like be your assistant and helper. And I don't know, they were having some trouble or they were really scared or nervous with celebrities. And I was like, I'll go with you. And I was just talking to her and we received her. And Vivica's like, you stay with me. And she was talking with me about women's empowerment and why it's important to open the door for other women because she had brought about 7 or 8 different women to the
Mhm.
event, and one young lady was actually on the Bold and the Beautiful at the time. I can't recall her
Mm.
name, but she was
Mhm.
on the Bold and Beautiful. And I was talking to her. She's like, "Yeah, Vivica's a great mentor, and she's just really big about women's empowerment." And she talked to me about a couple of financial things too, and just being smart with your money. And she's like, don't let the glitz and the glamour fool people. She's like, you still
Mhm.
have to live a life. And she's like, and I live a great life. And I admire her too, because she's a single woman. She doesn't have like any children, and she's been a mother in a different way.
Yeah.
And she's shown that it's possible to mother in a different way. And
Wow.
I won't let anybody talk bad about it, because she's good with her money. She tries a lot of different businesses, and they're
Yeah.
working, they're thriving. People like, she was on Car Shield. I'm like, yeah, but she got the Car Shield check.
Yeah.
What about you? She got the Car Shield check. Okay. Miss Vivica owns her own home, honey. Okay. She pulled up. Let me tell you, she wasn't ashamed of this. And I was so free to say this too. It was like a couple of years ago, but she pulled up with a Buick Enclave, or like a Buick SUV. And you
Uh-huh.
think of a celebrity, everybody's thinking like Lamborghinis and Mercedes and a Maybach and all this other stuff. No, she pulled up looking good, and one of her custom Vivica Fox wigs that you can get at any of your beauty supply stores,
Right.
because that is
Yeah.
her line,
Yeah.
looking fly and fabulous. She said, my car is paid, honey. My
Mhm.
house is paid. I'm like, pull up. It was clean. It was good. And she
Yeah.
looked good. So I'm like,
Yeah.
the zeros in the bank account for her are going in the
Come
positive
on.
and not the
Yep.
negative. So
Mm.
I'm gonna listen to what Miss Vivica got to say. So
Yeah.
she was just like a really big source of inspiration. Culinary
That's
wise, I look
beautiful.
to Carla Hall. I love Carla Hall. I want to meet her one day. Um, she kind of looks like Tracy Ellis Ross, like she could be
Mhm.
her cousin, with her glasses, and she's just unapologetically herself.
Yeah.
And I loved her when I was introduced to Carla through the medium of television, when she was on this show called The Chew on
Mhm.
ABC, which was like basically like the cooking view, if you will.
Okay.
And I was so devastated when that show went off the air, because one of the other chefs kind of had a scandal, and it affected everything. And it's just
Yeah.
like, this is not right. But I love Carla because she does honor like Southern traditions, and she honors herself.
Mm.
I also admire her too. She's showed me it's possible to be an awesome stepmom, because she's the one that hasn't had kids herself,
Okay.
but she's married. She has a fulfilled life, and she's a good stepmom. So they
Yeah.
could see, and from what she said, and she's just enjoying life and loves good food, and is inclusive of a lot of people, and just
Yeah.
has a light spirit and a good heart. And that's hard to find in culinary, because in the culinary field, there's so many people that it's like dog eat dog, and
Competitive.
it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, big egos, inflated egos. And Carla
Mm.
is just, she's just pure joy, and I
Yeah.
would love to meet her one day and just say thank you,
Yeah.
for just being a positive light, and keep making sure I keep my light turned on,
Yeah.
whether you know it or not. That's that. And then of course, if you go political kind of realm, I admire Jasmine Crockett
Mm.
to a T. She shows you like what it means. Like, even if you don't align with her political views, that's fine. But she stands on truth, and she's like, just
Mhm.
tell the truth. And she's not afraid to call out lies, and to
Mhm.
call out things that she feels is a misrepresentation of the
Yeah.
truth. And she's
Yeah.
sure of herself, and she's not gonna let anybody dog her out. We saw what happened. We got the beach blonde, bad built butch body
Yeah.
from her, and
Yeah.
it became song and everything, because she stood up for herself. And as a
Yeah.
Black woman, I was proud of her, because how many times as Black women, a lot of us have, too many of us have stories where we were dogged out, or people try to dog us out and assault us with our looks, and from our hair, and
Yeah.
yes, wearing eyelashes or makeup
Yeah.
or weave or braids or afros. But then you'll see it right on the runways of New York Fashion Week or Paris
Mhm.
Fashion Week, or this person of another race is trying to emulate that. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to let you talk about it. And guess what? I'm going to wear longer lashes next time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
like how she does it, and she's unapologetically herself. So she's authentic. And I think overall, I just look to women who have like authenticity,
Yeah.
who are genuine, who are true. Like, I met Tanisha Arnold. I got to cook for her for Tisha Campbell's 50th birthday party. I was the
Mhm.
sous chef for that event. And Tanisha is awesome. Like, she is so funny. And she's just, and the friendship they've built. They've had a
Yeah.
friendship since they were like little. And to withstand, it's possible for women to be friends. That's why I feel like you can have lifelong friendships. all this other crazy stuff that doesn't matter. And at that time, you could tell Tisha was going through it too, because it was during that time. It was just a couple of weeks, I guess, prior to her and her husband announced that they were divorcing.
Yeah.
And that's a hard transition to go into turning 50, you know, a big monumental birthday. Your
Right,
life
right,
is changing as you know
right, a
it.
life-changing
But to
experience,
have
yeah.
yeah, but you have one of your good girlfriends by your side that says, and yet
Yeah,
and still you're here, and yet and still we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna celebrate your you, and she's doing fantabulous now. And they
yeah,
both are, and I'm
yeah,
just so happy to see Tanisha get the blessings that she has. She's been on the Neighborhood on CBS for quite some time now, and
mhm,
honestly, to have continuous work as an actor and actress, or anybody as a creative period, that's a
yeah,
blessing and a gift. And she
yeah,
definitely she's deserving of all of it. So
yeah,
those are just some of the women that I've admired, some that I've met in person,
I love it.
some that I would like to meet, you know, like I said, of course I love Sarah Jakes Roberts. I think she's great. Another one that's really good I have right here, her book is Stephanie Ike Okafor.
Mhm.
She's actually one of the associate pastors at one LA, which is Teray Roberts and Sarah Jakes
Oh,
Roberts
yeah, yeah,
LA
yeah,
Church.
uh-huh, I've seen her on there, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, she's really good. I admire her a lot too. Her spirit is just so she's so sure of herself too, and she has such a
mhm,
peaceful countenance.
mhm,
And she just stands on the confidence, like she finds her confidence in God, and she stands on that.
that's
And
it. Yeah,
the book, The Power of Your Dreams, learning to understand your dreams, like, you know, while you sleep and everything. I'm still getting through it, but it's such a powerful book. And that gentleness, her tone is conveyed in the
mm,
words of that book. And
yeah,
it makes it a book like you don't want to put down. And
mhm,
you can just feel her spirit. And I love that. I love that about people whose spirits transcend them. And
yeah,
you could tell it's not fake, it's not
yeah,
contrived, and they're not trying to do they and I just have one more person I guess to put on this list. I've met um at a women's empowerment event that I was also being a sous chef for. I got to do a lot in LA. I was in LA, Atlanta, New York. So much people thought I had moved, and I didn't. But this one event was just like so special, and I met Angela White, who a lot of people know,
mhm,
formerly known as Black China.
yeah,
And it was her friend at the time. I'm not sure if they're still friends or not, but it was one of her friends at the time. They were doing a women's empowerment event at her lash and lip gloss studio that she had just opened in Calabasas. And I remember we were cleaning up and getting ready to go and meeting different people. And she's just kind of looking at me and float. I'm like, why is she looking at me? And she just came up and she's like, it's your spirit that I really, really like. She's like, I need that in my life. She's like, where do you live? And I told
mm,
her, and she just got sad. And she's like, I swear, if you lived here, you would be one of my best friends. And I was like, I could feel that. You know, I felt a longing in her spirit that she wanted a
mm,
desire to be better, but she was
yeah,
trying to break through some barriers. And she's
yep,
like, call me Angela. And I'm like, okay, I will call you Angela. And anytime I referred to her, anything I would say Angela, and people are like, well, I'm like, you know her as Black China, but her name is Angela.
Angela,
And I
yeah,
definitely prayed for her, and my mom did too. And you know, to see her transformation, she's been sober for almost 3 years now.
beautiful,
She's
yeah,
doing better. She just like rededicated her life, not just to God, but just to being a better mother, a
yeah,
better daughter, a better person.
yeah,
Because she didn't grow up with the best example. She's not trying to
right,
throw her mom under the bus, but it's just like the pathology is wasn't good. But to see her transcend and grow, I'm so proud of her. And it just
yeah, me
showed
too,
that,
yeah,
you know, God will put you into spaces and circles for a reason,
yeah,
and will let people encounter you. It's not just about, when I tell people too about celebrities, it's not just about you getting to encounter them. It's also about
them
you,
encountering you,
them
yeah,
getting to encounter you.
yep,
And
yep,
baby, I don't care where I'm at. If they tell me you need me to pray for you or whatever, I will do it right then and there. And I'm not like
mhm,
a big like religious type of thing, but I am firm in my foundation in God. And I that's a person I could say I honestly, and I have friends and family in entertainment too, but and I know how hard it is just in life, and especially in the entertainment circle. But when she said, you know, keep praying for me, I didn't let up. And I know I
yeah,
wasn't the only one, so I can't. I'm not taking the credit. And of course, God gets all the credit all the time.
yeah,
But
yeah,
just to see her transformation and growth, I think. I'm out of all the ladies, and again, I admire. I'm most proud of her. I'm
Yeah.
so
Oh,
proud of
yeah.
her. And when I
Yes.
saw her speak, I literally cried. I literally cried. And my mom's
Yeah.
like, I know those are tears of joy, and those
Yeah.
are heartfelt tears because
That's
never forget that
beautiful.
moment. So she's the
Yeah.
one I'm most proud of out of
Yeah.
everybody. Mhm.
And I met her in Atlanta. We were at the Women's Expo. And
Mhm.
me and my niece and my sister met her, and she was just so beautiful to my niece. Like that just stood out to
Yeah.
me. My niece was wanted to give her card because we had a booth, and so my niece went to
Mhm.
her booth, and she was letting people take pictures, and she's kind of like zoomed in on her, like, hold on, let her through. Like she made space for her,
Yeah.
and that's something that
Mhm.
really, and she was just so sweet to her. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
was
Yeah.
it was like my niece was the only one in the room. You know what I mean? And it was a crowd of people.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that
Yeah.
about that just stood out to me, with her. And then
Mhm.
watching her transition, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing, you
Yeah.
know. And it's like, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah. I could.
people will try to hold you to your past, so
Mhm.
my hope is that she doesn't
Yeah.
allow that to.
Yeah, and so far she seems like on a really good path. Like,
Mhm.
the thing is like I mentioned before, authenticity and genuine nature is like things that I gravitate me to other people,
Yep.
and I see that, and I saw that in her when I first met her. I just saw
Yeah.
that okay, she just has some barriers, and she has
Yeah.
some people that maybe need to be removed and out.
Yeah.
And that was my prayer for her. It was like God just put the right people in her path
That's
that are going
it.
to be
That yeah.
consistent
Yeah.
because I was like, yeah, if I was there, I would be your friend. I would be like
Mhm.
an accountability partner. But
Mhm.
it's like God can do it better than anybody else can, and
Yeah.
that's definitely that's happened. And she's making intentional choices, and
Yeah.
that softness, that kindness towards people and kids and stuff. That's always been there. So when you
Yeah.
said that, I was like, yeah, because I remember there's some kids that saw her like, oh my God, it's Black China. And this, they weren't at the event, but there's some little boys and they're like, "Can we take a picture?" And she's like, "Yeah, come on." And the way she
So sweet.
was just
Yeah.
super sweet and
Yeah.
just so kind and welcoming. So
Yeah.
yeah, she's always been that girl. She just has some barriers and she's breaking through those barriers and she's knowing herself and she's doing good. So I'm very proud of her.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I love it, and I love how you pointed there's different things about each of those women, that
Hmm.
impacted your life. I love it. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight. It was great,
Hmm.
just you sharing how you're turning these condiments into healthy. So everyone who's listening, she gave you her Instagram. Follow her on Instagram so you can be ready for the release of Drizzle and Dazzle, which is her cookbook. And she's gonna have, like she mentioned, her online cooking courses. I'm definitely gonna be because I want to see how to make this ketchup. I gotta make this ketchup.
Yeah,
So I
it's
am
so easy. I promise you, it'll be great. It'll be so
yeah,
easy, and it'll blow your mind about how
I'm
easy
excited.
it'll be. It's like
I'm
that's all it took. Oh,
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for you, and I want to thank you so much. And to all of our viewers, I want to thank you once again for tuning in to the Women Can Do show. We will be back again next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we'll actually have an in-person guest, so that's going to be exciting. So don't forget to tune in next Wednesday, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the Women Can Do show. Also, I want to make sure that we keep the family of Angie Stone um, in prayer. That was just I'm a huge fan of her music and just her as a person. So that was that's a big loss for the music industry and just her beautiful spirit as a whole. So let's keep her family in prayer because of course the fans of hers were devastated. So I just can imagine her family. So I want to acknowledge that, keep her family in prayer. And I pray you all have a good rest of your week and continue to celebrate Women's History Month. That woman that has empowered you, that woman that has inspired you, or that is still doing that for you today, that's mentoring you, that's giving you an encouraging word, it doesn't hurt to say thank you. Let's start showing appreciation to those who helped get us to where we are, or who are trying to push us to where we need to be. So make it a point to tell that person thank you. Give them their flowers while they're here. All right. So enjoy the rest of your Women's History Month. God bless you all. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.